It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, Jordan Clarkson made his return to Utah last night. He had a great game. The Jazz lose to the Knicks. They were up at halftime. They also lost Keontae George.
They were up 18 in the first half. They lose by 17, so quite a change. And honestly, credit Jordan Clarkson. He was a huge reason why the Knicks came back in that game. His offensive rebounding and his energy provided a real spark because they were dead men walking there for a little bit. Jalen Brunson was terrible for 3 quarters and then put it together.
The biggest news is Keontae George's hammy. I would almost assume that's the last we're going to see him this season, which leaves him games short of the most improved player, which I don't know.
We have seen Keontae come back from some ankle injuries recently, and I saw him after those games when he rolled the ankles, not the one in Orlando, but here in Salt Lake, and I was surprised at how quickly he came back. He was very dejected in the locker room after the game last night. And yes, I'm not a doctor, obviously, but I will speculate, pure speculation, total guess, that we will get an announcement that we're not going to see Keontae George for the rest of the year. And I don't think that's the Jazz tanking. I think the Jazz recognize that a hamstring injury there's a month from tomorrow is the last game of the season. It's way too quick to bring him back.
Even minor hamstring issues always linger. They always do.
Yep.
I mean, we covered teams with Mike Conley on it. You know,
right.
We know how it works.
Boozer, Conley, yeah.
Honestly,
Aaron Gordon can't figure his out.
It just doesn't go away. It's not one of those
Right.
things. Like an ankle sprain will go away. A hamstring just kind of lingers, and then you have to
You can re-trigger it and
Figure-
re-trigger it
yeah.
and re-trigger it.
and figure out how to deal with it. But it just doesn't. It just doesn't go away tomorrow. So anyway, that certainly was the biggest story. But the second biggest story, in my opinion, is just how awful your Knicks are. I mean, just
Bing bong.
just terrible. And honestly, not a coincidence. Jordan Clarkson was the spark plug in the fourth quarter because I would guess it's subliminally, but yeah, Jordan Clarkson's still good enough. If you don't guard him, he's going to score. And I bet his former teammates didn't hate it that Jordan Clarkson was the one who kind of brought the Knicks back, especially seeing all of Jordan's interactions and how the crowd reacted to him and all that stuff. It's funny how that kind of plays out when that vibe, I guess, is in the building. But is there a softer team on the planet? And Jalen Brunson was terrible.
Yeah, he was really bad
for most of the game.
Yeah, and you look at his box score, and it's like, he shot a very efficient game. And he's like 1 of 7 to start. He was really slow.
1 of 8 at halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, and gets just the easiest whistle you've ever seen in your life. So he lives at the line. They have ruined Mikal Bridges.
They have. That's been one of the bizarre stories. Most bizarre stories, yeah.
That guy was a borderline all-star, or at least, you say a
20 point per game two-way player is exactly what everybody in the NBA is looking for, and it's why the Knicks were giving up 6 first-round draft picks to get him.
And they just ruined that dude to the point where Jordan Clarkson was actually playing in the fourth quarter, which he probably shouldn't be. Karl Anthony Towns has zero interest in doing things that bigs have to do. Like, do you realize, Ben, that he was being guarded by Phil most of the night last night? He should have had 40.
Yeah.
He should have had 40, all dunks. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. How many, let's see, I can bring it up here. How many rebounds did the Catman have, Ben? Do you have?
He's a good rebounder,
do you want to
but
take
I have no
a guess?
idea what did he have? No.
7.
Yeah.
7 rebounds against the Jazz team with no size.
Yeah.
No size at all. It's wild to me, but the Knicks are not good. The Jazz absolutely beat them up for, I don't know, Ben, 3 quarters. That Jazz team that had no business beating up the third-place team in the East and who's supposed to be a contender at all.
I do think there are 2 things going on. One, I think teams still come into Salt Lake and see the roster the Jazz are putting out there and just expect that just by showing up they will win. And that is not the case. The Jazz are better than that. The Jazz will punch you in the mouth right now with these young players.
As presently constituted.
Correct. They will. So credit, I guess, Will Hardy and these young players for developing. But, you do have a bunch of lottery picks and first-round draft picks on this team that, like Bryce Sensabaugh, can get hot in the first half. And, Keontae George is going to be a very dangerous player anytime he's on the court. And Ace Bailey was exceptional last night again. I thought he played really well. So when that happens, you can be caught off guard. And the Jazz did open the game. I think they were 9 of 11 from 3. It was crazy. Also, the East is terrible.
So bad.
The East is so bad that the Knicks are still going to be a force to be reckoned with once you get to the postseason because the rest of the teams are awful. Orlando's terrible. Atlanta is terrible. Toronto last night just lost to the Pelicans. And that was a team that was like the third-place team in the East until a month ago, and now they're going to be in the play-in tournament because the East is awful. Milwaukee stinks, probably misses the playoffs. That's why Charlotte has made this crazy run. The East is truly awful, and as a result, don't be surprised if the Knicks take out Boston or take out Detroit in the playoffs. I would pick probably both of those teams over New York at this point because they are slowly unwinding, and they have such fatally flawed players in Jalen Brunson and in Cat, who they rely on so heavily, who just can't do anything on the defensive side of the ball. But the East is so mediocre that you can squeak through to a conference finals. I mean, honestly, and maybe we need to give Indiana credit because they did push the Thunder to 7 games last year, but Indiana was a very average team during the regular season last year and made it out of the East.
We continue to underrate Indiana.
Maybe.
I think that team was really good. But our Magic beat the Cavs yesterday?
Yes, they did.
So maybe it's time for the Magic to let the Magic cook.
No, I think the Cavs are just going to reveal how mediocre they are as well. I think that's what
the
we're
East
gonna
is
see.
dreadful.
It is. It's bad.
And New York is.
But the Jazz almost beat Detroit in Detroit this year.
Well, they can't score. I mean, all those teams are all flawed. We'll see how Boston mixes Tatum back in, how that eventually goes. Maybe it's Boston's conference to lose again.
Yeah, absolutely. You get a month now to work him back into shape. Absolutely, you can.
But they're not even as good as they used to be. No offense to Jaylen Brown. I think crazy. Just that whole conference can't get its act together.
No, the Jazz did beat Detroit this year. Yeah, I agree. The East is mediocre, and therefore, while I agree with you that the Knicks are certainly not of the caliber of even Minnesota, much less I think the Nuggets, the Thunder, and the Spurs, who are certainly kind of making their case as a real contender, they're gonna make noise in the East. It's crazy.
Maybe we need to give Rick Brunson time. Maybe we need to give old Rick time to get that team all pulling in the right direction.
I was thinking about it last night, not to dwell too much on the Knicks, but watching Cat and just watching how easy it is for even elementary level Jazz players at this point, just because they have so little experience. But like Elijah Harkless, picking them apart in the pick and roll because it's Brunson and Cat who they're going up against, which is they don't know what they're doing. So you can just easily make a get into the paint, kick out pass off the pick and roll to get a wide open three. Could they have done better in the Julius Randle trade than Karl Anthony Towns? And I honestly don't know. Cat has a lot of respect, but maybe it's just all numbers and no winning, and that's very possible. But Julius Randle was not all that beloved at that time either. I don't know who was giving up a big haul for him. So I don't know. The Knicks have painted themselves into this bizarre corner of this is what their roster is going to look like. They don't have a lot of wiggle room because they have a high salary cap and not a lot of draft picks to make moves. But it's not going to yield them a title.
By the way, Cat and Rick's son Jalen have been in the league long enough to know how to play against the pick and roll.
You would hope so.
It's not
but they're not going to.
It's not they don't know what they're doing. It's a
lack of desire.
Dad, they want me to go through the pick, Dad. Can you believe it?
You don't have to, son. I'll talk to Leon.
What a funny dynamic.
But, losing Keontae George is a major blow to the Jazz. And again, you hope it's not a long-term thing that he has to continue to deal with. I'll be curious to see what the severity of it is. Regardless, even if it's minor, you're probably talking about 2 weeks, and then it's 2 weeks left in the season, and you're going to need a week to bring it back. And I don't think it's minor, would be my guess. I think we've probably seen the end of Keontae George. Maybe we'll see Lowry come back for a little bit, but I don't know. By the way, I just watched an Iowa State player slip on the floor, so good start to the Big 12 tournament.
I honestly don't know. I don't understand it. How do you not?
Another guy just slipped. They're slipping all over the place. This is insane.
And not like a dusty church gym. You know what I mean? Have you ever played at that?
Yeah, of course.
That state
Yes,
center
of
gym
course.
where they just haven't.
You pulled your old shoes out, and they're not good either. And yeah, it's just a
And
mess.
it's a
this
disaster
is
waiting
high
to-
level floor.
This is
Or high level teams, at least.
Oh,
Low
where's
level floor.
where's your inner? What's that guy's name? Dan Hawkins. It's the Big 12.
The Big 12.
It's the Big 12. Can't find a playing surface that the players can play on. Killing it, Bert.
Yep.
All right. What's next?
Number 2, Utah State begins their Mountain West tournament play today. They are taking on UNLV for the third time this season.
I've never thought it was fair that UNLV gets home games in the tournament. But with that being said, small price to pay to be in Vegas.
And yeah, this is a game you need to win. I know they've struggled with UNLV this year, but UNLV is 17-15 on the season, 11-9. You're the 1 seed, they're the 8 seed. There's got to be a win for Utah State.
Yeah. I mean,
they don't have to win.
No.
They're in the tournament.
They are. So they could just take a nap and come home and get some rest.
But, go win. Go win the tournament. I don't know how much noise they're going to make in the NCAA tournament. You can never guarantee it or deny that it's possible. But what you can do is control your destiny in the Mountain West Conference tournament. So go do that.
Did you hear that UNLV coach crying about their record in the Mountain West tournament against any team not named Air Force?
I didn't.
I had no idea. We should find it. It was like borderline meltdown from a coach. I couldn't. Coach Lacombe was playing it for me. I was like, wow,
We'll play it next.
that guy's into it. But Utah State, I mean, better seating, all that stuff, but conference it's already been a huge success for Utah State. I wonder, we're hearing Calhoun's name with every single job it appears that pops up, and that's not a shock. I wonder what the Aggies can do to keep that distraction out of the locker room and maybe give themselves a fighting chance to keep their coach.
Yeah, it's almost that weird thing where, he's already going to be a high target. I don't think winning or losing at this point is going to change that all that much. But yeah, avenge your 27-point loss or whatever it was to UNLV a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, and bounce back and beat them to start your Mountain West Conference tournament on a high note, and eliminate the home team. Yeah, so you don't have to deal with that advantage or disadvantage going forward.
All right, what's next?
Number 3, a true Utah man, Morgan Scalley, has gifted $2 million back to Utah football.
So this is great for Utah football. $2 million is going to go a long way to helping you keep your top players, and suspect this just goes to NIL, and that's how they want to do it. I do think this is like me giving you $5 and Jake saying, "Give me $2 back," and me being like, "Jake, thank you so much for giving me $2. That is incredibly kind of you." And then you can pat yourself on the back for being good as well and giving me $2, even though I just gave you the $5 in the first place. I suspect some of this, and this is the pessimistic part of me, is worked into his contract in the first place as a bit of a workaround to how to pay these players.
Oh man, that is cynical. Except, the university can pay him with the 20,
But this doesn't count towards the 20.
No. I mean, look into it. Cynical me loves that take. Yeah. I don't know. It's a public university, so honestly, we could probably look at the contract. But
also means where's Morgan getting his money from?
I actually think
public money.
I think $2 million. I think the number is relevant really for only one reason. I mean, $2 million in today's day and age of the athletic budget, let alone NIL, is not huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even.
What do we think? 20-ish% of Utah's roster? Maybe not even that much?
Oh, no. I'm talking about overall athletic budget.
Overall athletic budget, nothing.
Not even,
yeah, but this is specifically towards the football program.
Sure, but think if I don't know what the athletic budget is, but if it's $150 million, probably 75% of that is football.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point being, I don't know if the reason the number is relevant is because it's enough that Morgan Scalley will feel it. That's a lot of money to Morgan Scalley. We get really lost in these figures on how much they are and all this stuff. And even me, I just said it's a drop in the bucket for the athletic budget. But you know what? It's not a drop in the bucket for Morgan Scalley. And I actually think that this is really smart in a way. Because the great conflict in college sports has always been the players are eating top ramen and the coach is living at the Taj Mahal, right? doing this signals investment from the coach.
Yeah.
That argument, that conflict has always been a thing. So how do you get over that conflict? Because Morgan is certainly benefiting financially. He's doing fine. I don't know where Morgan's living these days, but I bet it's a pretty nice neighborhood. You know what I mean? He's making a good living. So turn around and invest back in the program and turn around and invest back in the players. And all of a sudden you're sending the message like, coach has skin in the game too. And by the way, it was enough that it hurt him a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know your cynical ploy if it was built in, maybe. But I actually think, as far as I love to criticize PR stuff, I think this is really good PR. I think this is really good internal PR where you send the message to your players like, when we say family on three or whatever, it's not just words. I'm physically invested in this. My family is invested in it. We're invested in you. I think it's a really good message.
I totally agree. And also, I think it's smart if you're trying to invest in your ability to have this job 3 years from now, 4 years from now. If paying an extra $2 million out of your own pocket allows you to keep X, Y, and Z players, let's say you're too deep at quarterback, which is going to be the biggest difference makers on your team next year, and your willingness to donate money towards that helps you keep your job. Well, next year you make how much? Do we know how much Morgan's salary is yet? I'm sure we do. It's public information. But if it allows you to keep your $7 or $8 million, contract or $6 million contract, well, that's a worthwhile investment. If I were to say, hey, I need to subscribe to cleaning the glass, $5 million for Morgan. If I need to subscribe to Cleaning the Glass, the subscription website for NBA stats, but it makes me sound smarter and it keeps me employed longer, well, that's a worthwhile investment for me. It's not unlike what Morgan's doing.
I think that the message that Utah is going to have to sell a lot, and not that they will have zero resources, don't get me wrong, because we know that's the case, and it all depends on which lake you're swimming in, right? But I think a lot of the message is going to have to be you're going to be better as a person and teammate and all those things, all the family on three stuff that Morgan really believes in. I think that's going to have to be the sell big time for Utah. And I'll tell you this, the good thing for Morgan is he means it.
Of course, yeah.
The good is he means it.
Yes, I do think this. I think Morgan's very authentic in his love for the university.
Absolutely do too. But I think that's going to be a huge sell to retain players specifically. Like you can go to University of Miami and make $2 million, but you can stay here and do fine. And guess what? We're going to make you a better player or a better person or whatever, and really invest in that. And guess how I can show you that I mean it? I took $2 million. That's 40% of my salary right out of my pocket and plugged it right back in the program because I mean what I'm telling you right now. I think that's really going to have to be the sell with that football program. But I think he can sell that because I think he means it.
Brian Kelly donated $1 million of his salary last year to match NIL donations. And this is just by a very simple Google. Mike Norvell donated $4.5 million out of his contract to the school's NIL. So at West Virginia. So, at Tennessee. Where is he?
Who is that?
Mike Norvell.
Oh, no, he's not at Tennessee. That's the old Utah State guy. Florida.
Yes, Florida. Excuse me. I'm thinking, I know it's in the South. So we have seen this. We are seeing coaches around the country do this. And yeah, it's a good PR win.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's probably the majority of it. But again, I think that Morgan believes what he's selling, and he believes the Utah man stuff. And
I agree.
$2 million is enough to make a difference to him. It's one thing if your guy Elon Musk carves off $2 million for anything, everybody looks at him and be like, "Serious?
Why wasn't it 3?
What you made that in about 45 seconds."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you're right. It's a big chunk of
with
Morgan's compensation.
That's something,
Yep.
Now he better not be donating the country club membership. That's
he needs that.
He should keep that in his pocket.
Yeah.
That's a recruiting tool, if anything else. Stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up right around the corner. Have we started yet? Ooh, Texas Tech out to an early lead, 15-4. On top of Ben's Cyclones.
Well, the Cyclones can't stand up. They're slipping all over the floor.
Nick Olchek, top of the 11 o'clock hour. Stay tuned. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.